Welcome. In today's video, we're going to compare the Voigtlander Nokton 35 1.4 version 2 single coated compared to the Leica Summicron 35mm f2 version 3 because they're optically the same. Coming up, sample photos comparing both lenses side by side. So by the end of this video, you'll know, is it better to maybe get the Leica lens, or can you save a fair bit of money, at least 50-60%, and get the Voigtlander lens? Let's get started. Hey guys, Matt here from Leica.com. So if you're new here, I spend most of my life reviewing Leica related cameras and lenses and also film cameras. And so today I'm going to review a lens that I used to own, the Voigtlander Nokton 35 1.4, against the lens that I now own, the Leica Summicron 35 f2 pre-spherical. When I was away in Prague last summer, I was with one of my patrons, Toby, and he owns the version 2 single-coated version of the Voigtlander 35 1.4. So it was a great opportunity to compare both lenses side by side and find out once and for all, is it worth paying the higher price tag for a Leica lens, or can you save a bit of money and get the people's favourite? It seems to be very popular for especially like M6 users, the Voigtlander Nokton 35 1.4. Let's look at the lens characteristics, lenses side by side, lens prices, and then stay with me and I'll give you a verdict at the end. Okay, let's compare the Summicron versus the Nokton. So this was all shot and tested last summer when I was in the Czech Republic as part of a photo shoot trip. All the photos you're going to see will be shot to the M262. If we first compare the lenses side by side in terms of the design, first glance they look very similar, but the Nokton is a 43mm filter thread compared to a 39mm filter thread for the Summicron, and the Nokton weighs 189 grams compared to 170 grams for the Leica. So the Leica is slightly smaller in all dimensions. The Nokton has a filter thread where the version 2 Summicron doesn't, the version 3 does. The version 2 Summicron has a strange little aperture tab. The version 3 has a standard aperture kind of design. Check out the full Summicron video if you're interested in the Summicron. Both lenses focus to 0.7 meters, and they're both kind of a nice walk around size. If you see them side by side to normal people, they're more or less the same. I just wanted to point out the exact differences for those interested. If you're interested in the multi-coated version of the Nokton, it's identical size-wise, but it won't have the blue SC on the front. Here you can see the lenses on the cameras. Toby's got a Leica M9 there, and I had the, as I say, the 262. They look fairly similar, but the Leica is a tiny bit smaller. Bokeh test. So first the Nokton, you can see, for me, I call it like a squished bokeh at the corners and kind of more even across the frame. Whereas the Leica has a tiny bit more swirl and kind of the elliptical bokeh, which is maybe a signature of certain Leica lenses, like the old pre-spherical Summilux, and in this case, the pre-spherical Summicron. Here's a real example. Lens flare. So lens flare, it's a bit more colourful flare from the Nokton, and also has that rainbow effect. Both lenses have the orange kind of globule lens flare and a loss of contrast across the frame when you shoot into the sun, as you can see from these examples. Vignetting. Both lenses give almost identical vignetting when wide open and also stop down. As you can see from these images, yeah, very, very similar. Here are some real examples from a long time ago when I was shooting the Nokton on film. Chromatic aberrations. So if we have a closer look, the Leica's got chromatic aberration at f2, where the Nokton doesn't have chromatic aberration at f2. If you zoom in, what you're looking for is kind of the pink or greeny cast around the edge of highlights often, where the Nokton does have color cast when shot wide open. So stop it down one stop and it improves a lot. In terms of colors, what really surprised me with this test and this video, I haven't really used this single coated Voigtlander lens before, and the colors are almost identical to the kind of older Leica lenses, the pre-spherical lenses. I mean, tell me if you see different, but that's what I see. The only difference is the flare different color. In terms of contrast, again, I think because of the single coated compared to the pre-spherical, the contrast is very similar. If you've got the multi-coated, it will be more contrasty. The lens I used to own was a multi-coated, so you won't have the SC on the front. These examples are with multi-coated versions of the lens, and as you can see, they are much more modern. 3D pop and separation. The Nokton easily beats the Summicron for 3D pop. Shoot the lens wide open. A f2 lens can't compete with a 1.4 lens. Lens sharpness. So I use the Pilsen sign or Pilsner sign across the river. And then I just wanted to see how they compared side by side. Shooting both lenses at f2 at first glance may be similar, but as we zoom in, we notice that the Leica is sharper than the Nokton in the center, as we can see from this crop, and even more so at the edges, as you can see from these crops. So Leica wins for sharpness. Close focus, I shot lens at lens, so you can see the Nokton lens looks sharper, shot by the Leica. So the Leica is sharper. Price difference, the Leicas can cost 1,300 plus, where the Voigtlander's under 500. Okay, so what is the verdict? Both lenses are roughly the same size. Both lenses perform much better as you stop them down. If you're going to shoot f8, it doesn't really matter what 35mm lens you're going to use because every lens is pretty good by the time you stop down to f8. If you need a maximum aperture of f1.4, then obviously the Nokton's going to win. However, if you want sharpness at a wide aperture, I'd maybe actually skip both of them and get the Voigtlander Ultron 35f2. I used to own the Nokton 1.4. I sold it and I got the Ultron 35f2 instead. If you saw my Summicron video or my Summicron blog post, I can put a link below where I compare all 7 Leica Summicron 35mm lenses. I would describe the Leica Summicron as a Voigtlander Nokton with a mist filter attached. So if you want that bit more sharpness, maybe skip both and get an Ultron or any other modern 35mm lens. If you want like a happy medium, I think the Ultron's got character, yet it's sharper than the lenses we're talking about today. However, if you do like a bit of that Leica glow, a bit of that kind of fuzziness, wide open, as I say, the mist filter effect, then I think both the pre-spherical Leica Summicron lenses, wide open, and the Voigtlander Nokton 35 1.4 give you that kind of softer glow look at wide apertures. One thing I did find interesting from making this video and the results is the single-coated Nokton version lenses give almost the Leica look compared to the multi-coated Voigtlander lenses. Most multi-coated Voigtlander lenses will give you a sharper, more modern look because of the apparent sharpness, because of the higher contrast. If you get the single-coated Voigtlander Nokton, you're going to get more of that soft glow look from a Leica lens. I would think of lenses like the 28mm Almarit, also the 90 f2 Apo pre-spherical. They've all got lower contrast and very pretty for portraits, and it's like putting a mist filter on a more modern lens. So if you like that look out for single-coated Voigtlander lenses. So I guess the big question is, Matt, what 35mm lens would I use and would I recommend? I did actually buy the 35mm version 3 Summicron because I wanted that mist filter look for digital. I like to soften up my digital images, and then I can use the Voigtlander Ultron f2 if I want to be more contrasty to shoot on film. If I'm shooting mostly film in low light conditions, the Nokton's got that massive advantage of it's one stop faster. And as you probably know, if you're a fellow film shooter, every stop counts from a shooting film. For that reason, I would say optically the Leica wins, but for best value for money and practical use, the Nokton wins. And as you say, stop them down, they're going to be roughly the same anyway. So let me know in the comments below, what is your favorite of the two lenses we mentioned today? Are you more of a Leica Summicron person, more of a Voigtlander Nokton, or maybe something different? Maybe use the Scopar, the Ultron, or any of the other 35mm lenses. As always, a huge thanks to my amazing patrons. Thanks for watching and hope to catch you in the next video.